school wasn't easy, and then trying, sharing that things weren't easy and that I need help
Mm,
is like something I struggle with. Be patient with yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. And yeah, you can ask for help. It's all right. It really tested my patience because, again, I had to recognize that it doesn't happen overnight and it will take some time. So I had to persevere through my patience too, like it's okay, just be patient with yourself. You'll get it. Um, and yeah.
Rachel, so you graduated in 2012. Why did you decide to take your FE exam?
Initially, I knew that I needed it to continue on into the field, like get better job offers, make more money, um, not get glossed over and think like people or, I wasn't serious about the the industry or getting involved. So that was one of the main reasons. And like there were some other classmates that had taken the exam that I was like, I should just give it a shot. And I did. I tried it um twice.
Oh,
Twice. And initially that did not go great. But mhm.
okay. So the first time you took the FE exam was actually you were in college or you just graduated?
I graduated in 2012, and I basically took a year off from doing anything, and then I took it in 2013 twice. I took it then, it was the you can only take it twice a year in April and in October. But I took it twice. I took it in April, didn't pass, and then I took it in October, and I still didn't pass. So I was very bummed at that time. And that kind of like took me out. So I didn't really take it again until 2016.
Wow.
I don't
Okay.
actually even remember when I took it in 2016, but it was still the only twice you could take it a year. So I took it in 2016 and still didn't pass. Yeah.
Okay. And then fast forward later, when did you come back to it again?
Yeah, and then so like, I'm in the industry. I had gotten my first job in 2013, and then I was working for about 8 years at my one company, and then um COVID hit, and then, I was let go, and then I thought that the reason why they let me go was because I didn't have my EIT. And I was just really bummed and actually just down about it for quite a while. So then that year when I was just trying to like recoup from that rejection, I was like, okay, let me prepare to take my EIT again. And that was 7 years after last taking it. So yeah, that was last year. That was
Oh,
last year.
okay. So you were at a job for 8 years, and then you still got laid off during COVID.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Even
It was
though,
tough.
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine because that was your first job. You graduated, you got that job. You've been with them for 8 years, and then it just that must have been really difficult because you look back and you're like, "Oof, I took the FE couple times, I failed, and now look at I'm in this position. I got laid off maybe because of the FE." So, how did you get yourself out of that? And then, how did you approach the FE again this time around?
Well, yeah, like I'm saying that was a really tough process because I think I got really calloused in thinking like I'm never gonna pass this exam.
Mhm.
I I had a lot of doubts, and I just felt like I was just getting rejected in multiple ways. Even though it had been it was in 2016 that I last took it. But um, so I took some time and I just kept on writing, in my journal, my goals, and like I had to work on a lot of my mentality, my mindset on like what it is that I wanted. Um, and ultimately I want to be a PE. So um, especially if I stay in the industry. And that was also another thing. I was combating a lot of, do I even stay in this industry
Mm.
or completely leave because I don't feel like I am being accepted, especially after the layoff and you know the yeah after the layoff. I guess I kind of like recovered from not passing the FE those 3 times, but um, I think the layoff really hurt me. So my first step was to get a new job. I did do that, and then I knew after I got like more experience under my belt, I would feel more confident to go for the FE. So in 2022, I had gotten my second job. I was actually with them for about only like 9 months, and then but that experience was very encouraging because I um, learned a lot, and then I think I saw through that experience that, oh, I'm still capable of learning. I'm still interested in this
Mm.
industry. I My colleagues were very encouraging and letting me know like I'm basically ready to take the EIT, or I am bid pretty much in the EIT. I just have to take the exam and do the work. So that was very encouraging, and I really appreciate it because although that didn't last very long, that job, I found it in me to start preparing, and um, so that was last year. I started preparing last year. Yeah.
Wow. So looking back, would you say like getting laid off from that job was like a good thing that happened to you?
No,
No, because
no.
you were able to find another job that kind of helped you, you know, like
Well, I
encouraged
mean,
you
that's a
to,
good question. That's a good
right?
question. That's a good question because like that really hurt. Like I was really down. I was like depressed for a while after that. Like if you're with a company, in my opinion, if you're with somebody and like, when you're working, it's kind of like it's a relationship. So I was torn and it hurt and it took me a long time to recover and just put myself back out there. But I guess where I am today, you're right. I can say that that was a blessing in disguise
Yeah.
because it did help me go through that tough experience of, you know, getting over the past rejections. And it made me at least see that it's only up from here, really. So, um, I guess,
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you.
I
Uh,
guess,
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of times I think sometimes like in life we want something so bad and then it doesn't happen for us or something happens to us and then in the moment we feel really down and like you said you were really depressed during that time. But then later on in life, when you look back at that moment or that experience, you go like, wow, like I'm actually glad that kind of happened because if that didn't happen, I would have never gotten this or, looked at my life differently and started really working towards my goal. And I was able to find a job that really encouraged me and they helped me believe in myself that I can actually pass this exam, which is kind of what you said, right? And I
yeah.
like wonder like if you never experienced that, you never got laid off, you never find that, that job, would you've ever been able to, get your EIT and then get there? It's very interesting. I know at the moment it was painful to experience that, but now that you got here looking back, so it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like it's one of the harder journeys, but I guess everybody would say that, my experience, their personal experience is hard, but that was hard for me to go through. So,
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said earlier. You really did believe that you had so much doubt and you didn't believe you could pass this exam.
mhm,
And I've have talked to a couple students before who had the same kind of idea, and they stayed stuck in it, and then they failed the FE exam a couple times, and then eventually they were able to uh, break those negative thoughts and be able to take the FE exam. I want to ask you, where do you think that came from? The like the strong belief of like I can't pass this exam. And then how were you able to break those thoughts? Do you think your new job helped you with that, or what other things that you did that helped you get into a more positive mindset to be able to tackle this exam?
mm. I think it came from possibly my experience in undergrad. School was not easy for me. I I got my degree, so I know that in and of itself is like that signifies like I can do this. But just, the process of school and trying to learn all these different ideas and applying them and trying, it wasn't easy. So, and then trying to balance everything, like I never felt like I was able to balance, studying and um the rest of my life. Like it was always just studying and then everything else went, it wasn't really that easy for me. And I've been trying to um do everything. Like I would prefer to have to, be able to study and maintain friendships and relationships with family and stuff in it. And I don't know, it just feels like that wasn't something I was really ready to do or capable of when I was in school. And it kind of carried into just studying for the exam. So I think I was shying away from changing how I approached, uh, that balance of trying to um, to grow and changing my mindset. Like, it wasn't very easy for me, and it's still not, but I know now from my experience, studying this last time, it can be done, and for me, the people that love you and support you will be there for you regardless, and that was a tough experience for me to learn, um, but, yeah, school wasn't easy, and then sharing that things weren't easy and that I need help
Hmm.
is like something I struggle with. It's just something I struggle with, like, I need help. It took me I guess this brings up like it took me a long time to say like I need to take a course to like show me how to think about, you know, completing the square. Like I don't I actually I guess I learned it, but I never really understood it. And, when I would go over those videos, um, and go over them again, and then just be patient with myself. Cause I think that's really what it is. Even though I think I'm patient, I'm really not patient with myself and trying to understand things that I don't understand. And then also asking for help. So, yeah. That was a process. And then when I think about it, it doesn't even seem like it has it's not even technical. It ends up being all um like your emotional and like your mindset. And it's just like, wow, I had no idea that what I guess I was shying away from really is what I really need to work on, which is, be patient with yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. And yeah, you can ask for help. It's all right.
Yeah. Those amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think a lot of people after going through the FE experience, it's like it changes them a little bit. They learn so much about themselves. It's funny how like an FE exam, right? Like an engineering exam
Yeah.
really challenges people to the point where they learn about themselves and they're like, it's time for me to change these thoughts and this mindset because it is working against me. I've talked to a lot of students and we have a lot of interviews in our channel, and I notice it's a trend that people experience where after studying for the FE and going through this journey, they figure out, what, like half of this battle is the mindset. I truly believe that. I think to pass the FE exam, half of the battle is the study resources, right? You got to make sure you're studying the right material to pass the exam. But the other half really is your mindset. Because if you don't believe in yourself, and if you're not in a good place, and if you're not patient, like you said, and if you're not able to balance work and studying and all that, like you're not going to be able to do well on your exam. All of that is going to kind of work against you. Um after over the years, I really like learned from you guys, from the students that I interviewed, that it really takes both study resources and being in a good place and having the right mindset. um so now, so you said you started studying like last year, would you say 2023, 2022? Is that when you?
Funny because like I think I purchased your course in 2022, but I
Okay.
didn't look at it literally until 2023.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I really didn't like I wasn't really serious, I guess, until 2023. And yeah,
So,
that it was a lot to break through. Like I knew I was chipping away at, like I said, my negative perspective or callousness towards, my belief on, my capabilities. But yeah, it took me a while. It took me a while.
yeah. So before you purchase our course, before that, what study resources do you use for your other attempts?
So the first time I took it, I had just Lindenberg's test, the big Lindenberg book. Um, and then that was in April 2013. And then before the 2013 in October, I took a course with the local college that was like doing a review course. It was in person and, they gave handouts and homework. And yeah, I did that. And the exam then actually, it's kind of funny because I took the exam in, I guess, different way. Before it was many more actually topics they covered. I've seen it transform the exam. But yeah, there were more topics then, and yeah, so I took a local college review course that gave you could take the course again if you didn't pass. So I didn't pass. So then when I took it again in 2016, they allowed me to like sit in the class that time and take the class again. But that still didn't work until I in 2022 I was looking at I just got really encouraged by your interviews with other people. And because for me, the whole experience and process was so emotional, or just, personal, I should say. I felt that hearing other people's stories really helped me.
Hmm. And so how did you hear about us? Did you just find us online?
I think I just started typing FE review. Like, what are the FE review courses? Because the people at my job that were like saying I could start, start preparing, um, they were like, "You can take a course." And I was like, "What course? None of the courses have worked for me." You know, I was resistant to anything. And then I but then I was like, "Okay, I can find a course, I hope, but it has to work for me. Like, it has to work for me." Because I get, like the in person, just doing problems, having one class going over all of water resources, it's not going to help me. Like, I did not feel like that type, even though I feel like I do better in person, that was not enough. And so yeah, I just kept on typing in after review course, and I think some of your interviews have come up on YouTube.
Awesome. Did you consider any other course before you decided to purchase the Genie Prep course?
No, not really.
Oh.
I I think from some of your interviews, or maybe some of the way, I think you were like had gone over a couple problems, and I guess the pace and just trying to understand or give myself like an idea of how I would be learning under your guidance. It was something that I could follow. So I
Hmm.
didn't really think of any other program.
Okay. So you got our bundle course that
I
has
get
everything, right? Morning, afternoon, practice exams, statics course. Now, what were some of the things that you really liked about our courses and you felt like it really helped you with your FE preparation?
um I did like the statics course. The statics course really, I because I know statics is obviously the foundation for a lot of our topics, our disciplines. Um, I thought that that was really helpful, even though it's part of the morning course. When I got to the morning course in statics, was it was I was going through it faster because I understood it. And so yeah, the status course was really good in the centroids and moment of inertia for me a lot. I felt pretty confident in the other areas, like um, just finding the forces values. I'm pretty good at that, but it was, I think for me it was moment of inertia and centroids and those types of things. That was tough for me, but and then also going through the math in the morning section was really helpful because I knew that my weak points, looking at my the exam, I forget what you call those thing. What's it called? After you fail, the
Di-
paper that you
the
the what?
diagnostic report.
Yeah, the diagnostic report. I looked at my diagnostic reports from, when I failed it in 2016, and my weak areas were problem stats. I
Mm.
really wanted to do well in math because I feel like that's obviously another, that's you need to do well in math. If you do well in math, you build your confidence. Um, so problem stats, math, and fluid mechanics. Oh no, that's in the afternoon. Is it in the afternoon? I'm
That's
not
in the
sure.
morning. Fluid
Okay,
mechanics. Yeah.
and then fluid mechanics. Yeah,
Yeah. And
I wanted to do well in those courses or those topics. So,
great. And did you use any practice exams?
yes, for the final time I took it, I did use Islam's test. I think
Mm-hmm.
I used his two tests. that, and then I also I found the ultimate exam. I don't know, ultimate civil FE exam. I'm not exactly sure who the author is on that, but does that sound familiar? I don't know.
A little bit. I would have to look it up, but maybe I'll find it and then link it in the description below. Did you find those practice exams helpful?
For my confidence, yes. For my
Mhm.
confidence, yes. Like, and which was huge, when, and then I also used E NCEES one. So it was four. I took three out of those four, and you know, I was confident enough. My goal working with RIM actually. So RIM was really helpful for me in the whole process. Also, keeping my mindset where it needs to be so that I felt confident enough to sit for the exam, and just as I was going through the program, and kind of like, I guess, naturally we have this self-defeating attitude and mindset. Oh, I do. And I just felt comfortable talking to her about like those issues for me, and she was very encouraging. And yeah, when we worked together, she was telling me I need to just score between 65 and 70 on my practice exams, and I was doing that. And when I finally started doing that, I felt really good. Felt really
Hmm.
good.
Awesome. So for the audience who are not familiar with our courses or our programs, so Rim is part of our Genie Prep team, and she follows up and helps students with their FE preparation. So that's what she tries to do: follow up with students, make sure they're studying, make sure they stick to their schedule. Whoever who wants that kind of help. Um, and really glad to hear that she really helped you, and she was there for you when you needed it, because we really want to help students. Like I mentioned before, after talking to so many students, we did realize that the FE exam is not just about learning the concepts and learning, but it's also about the mindset, right? And just having support and having somebody there to guide you and help you and make sure you don't spiral, make sure you're on the right path, right? And so I trained Rim for a few months. She would hop on calls with me and with students, and I really trained her to make sure that she's there for you guys, and she's doing an amazing job. So I just want to share that with the audience, and yeah. The other thing as well I want to ask you about is AI. I think you're one of our first students that tested the Genie Tutor. Is that correct? I would love to hear, like, I know you were able to access it till the end of your studies, and we the our tech lead reached out to Rim and was like, "Hey, do you know any potential students who would like to try it?" And then she recommended you, and so I would love to hear if did it help you? Did you like it? What are your thoughts on our Genie tutor?
I thought it was great. I was like, oh man, she's telling me this so late. Man, I wish I could
Oh.
use this earlier. But in the time that I did when I took it um, in December, it was good for me because I got to flesh out ideas in my head that I could just ask. No embarrassment, no like shame or anything about repeating a question from several different angles, specifically like centroid or moment of inertia. I really utilized it for statics, I think, and it helped me in fluid mechanics, because, yeah, I think we all know now with the exam, they asked the same question. They asked one question several different ways,
Hmm.
and you have to understand it like from several different angles. So I really tried to utilize it, or help me in that regard, because I guess trying to sometimes I get overwhelmed by the words of trying to explain these problems, and I'm like, what are they asking me here? What are they asking me here? And then when I was working with the tutor, um, it would tell me, and so, or it helped me at least say, or I would, I would try and use or direct it and let it know, like, this is what I understand from this question. Is that correct?
Mm,
And then they're like, yes, you are correct. No, that is not it. So it
yeah.
helped me, make a clearer path on how to approach problems for sure.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great to hear that. We're definitely going to share that with our students, and then hopefully they can use it as well, and help them with their FE preparation. I think a lot of people are a little bit afraid to try it. Um, at first, I think it can be intimidating, but I think, like you said, the really cool thing about it is that you can ask as many questions as you want, and then without you feeling like, "Oof, is this a dumb question? Am I asking the same question again?" And it's like, it's just, it's an AI, doesn't care about you. So
Yeah,
you can just ask, he's not going to judge you, he or
yeah,
she, that means AI, I guess,
yeah,
it's not going
yeah.
to judge you. So you can just ask it as many questions as you can. And I think that's really uh, my favorite part about it, because like you said, the FE exam can ask you the same question in different way. And so then you asking the tutor over and over a different question about the same question, right? But different questions about it, it just helps you understand the problem better and really, really, and have a deeper understanding of the concepts. And that's really what you need for the FE exam. So I'm really glad you liked it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your schedule. So how many months did you study for the FE exam?
I would say, so, 8 months. It took me 8 months to work through all of my stuff, whether it was the program at first or just, being in the right mental space to do the work. Because again, I just felt like I needed a lot of molding to to have patience with myself even when I wasn't understanding something. So yeah, it was 8 months and I wasn't working, so I was able to devote quite a bit of time, but at the same time, N not too much where I would completely, overwhelm myself and, uh, take weeks off, because that's initially what had happened. I was taking weeks and weeks off, and because I was, like, discouraged, like, "Oh, I'm not understanding this," or "I'm not understanding the first problem." Great, That wasn't really helpful for me, but when I stuck to it, it took me about 8 months.
Okay. And then how many hours did you study a week?
I'd say about 20 to 25 hours. 20
Okay.
to 25 hours. I'd really tried to get through the programs because I took all 3. I think it took me a little bit longer, um, or not really longer, but it just took me a little bit more time because I wanted to make sure I understood everything. That was really important for me. I wanna understand everything. Even if I don't understand everything, I wanna understand as much as I can. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And okay, so it was 20 to 25 hours a week, and you did that for 8 months. Was there anything, or yeah, was there anything that you did that you felt like it really helped you to pass your FE exam, and that you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, actually, so I think the thought for me having not like, I wasn't working at the time, um, I could have just, like, studied 40 hours a week, made that my job, but I realized that that wasn't working for me. I needed to balance out my life. So which is comes back to what I think I mentioned before, balance is really important for me. So, I I play tennis, so I made sure that, like, I played tennis every single week. I played tennis every single week. That was, like, a way for me to,
Mhm.
um just release some of the stress that I was going through, or because it's not easy. Like I would always say um, to my therapist, like I'm in therapy too, so it's like something that I had to really work through. It's like I'm going through a load, so that's like the pee over the area of my body. Like I'm carrying this load, and it's changing me, it's changing who I am. So I it's a terrible joke, but like I guess for an engineer, they can possibly understand, but like yeah, it takes time to change, and it's pressure because that's pressure. Um, and I felt like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself because I wasn't working, and I I really wanted to pass the exam before I started to start looking for another job because I knew that would just ultimately give me the confidence that I needed. So that was my goal, and yeah, I had a dog, so I had to balance that out too. He's pretty demanding, and yeah, so I would take walks with my dog and just try and make sure that I was being as balanced as possible, making time for myself, um, going to the gym, going to play tennis, walking my dog, just relaxing when I can.
Yeah, I think having that balance is really helpful a lot, especially for the FE. And then also it's like it's important to give yourself time to like process everything that you have learned. So that's the other thing. If you would have tried to do
Yeah.
40 hours, you would have probably not processed, not given enough time for yourself to process everything that you learned. And so and then also recharging, right? So I'm sure like when you went back to studying, you had energy to sit to a few hours to study, versus if you just didn't have that balance, you would have had low energy, you would have not been excited about it, because like you're too tired and stuff. So it's very important to find that balance and give yourself a little bit of a time and time for yourself to recharge. um, okay,
Yes.
so the day of the exam, how were you feeling? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I took it in December. I didn't pass it then, but then that day, I guess I knew that I wasn't going to do as well. Like I kind of went in and I hadn't practiced that part the whole commute, and I got sidetracked on the way in, and it really kind of messed up my mental state. Um, but the day I passed, I I felt good. I felt really good.
Mm.
The day because I had the confidence from my practice exams. I knew I could pass, and like I was visualizing. Um, I know this sounds silly, but like I was visualizing giving myself a hug after I finished the exam because I accomplished. Like I did it, and that really helped me just to get through the day because I tried to tell myself, okay, this is just kind of another day of going to the library because that's also I went to the library, which helped me a lot, just getting out of my space, my house, and then going to the library, and that experience just also like I guess send me out to know why I was there. I'm there to study, and going to the exam that day was much better. I was more clear-minded and knew that I could do it.
How was your exam? Was it difficult? Did you feel like it was fair?
I thought it was fair. I actually went into the break pretty confident because once I used the do the easiest ones first, do the next harder ones next, and then come back and do the ones that are not as easy. When I got to the third round, I was like, oh, I know how to do this problem. I know exactly how to do this problem. I know how to do this problem too. So I went into the break feeling pretty good because I knew I got those ones that I initially thought I didn't know correct. Like I knew I got them right. So I thought that that was good for me. And then when I took my break, I I didn't even go outside. I knew that um, and I knew that that was different because the other times I would go outside and like just try and breathe and all at even though that's good, it wasn't like I think as the tunnel vision of just try and relax, eat something quickly, drink, go to the bathroom, and prepare for the next half. Yeah,
So you
which
wanted
was not too bad. I mean, it was tough, but um, I think once I applied the same idea of doing the easiest ones, doing the next harder ones, and doing the hardest last, and it really helped me. It really helped me.
Yeah. It really builds your confidence when you do it that way because you focus on the ones you got right versus the ones you didn't get or the ones you missed because you're just skipping those hard ones for later. And so as you're working on the easy ones, you're like, okay, I got this, I got this. And so by the time you get to the harder ones, you go like, look, I just solved all these problems. I can do
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
It's like a trick on your mind, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. A week later, you found out that you passed your FE. How did that feel?
Like I looked at my email, and you get that email now, I guess, saying you got the badge. And then it was like an audible scream. I screamed and I started, I was very, very, very happy and relieved. I called my sisters who were very supportive of the whole process and just really instrumental in, you know, helping me stay on track. And I started crying, and then I told my mom. It was a really emotional time, um, but still really happy. I was really really happy
That's
for
awesome.
days.
Yeah. It stays for a while, huh?
Days for a while, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's a nice feeling for sure. After you look back after all that, those ups and downs and struggles and that whole journey, and you're like, oh my God, like I have arrived. I'm like here now. And then you keep looking at that green and you keep
Yeah,
refreshing the page to make sure it didn't go anywhere and then it's still like there. It's actually real. I've
yeah,
had few students do that where they go like the next day I was like, I need to go make sure it's still there and that's not a mistake.
yeah.
um yeah. Did passing the FE affected your life so far?
I think for me, it's again, it's helped with my confidence in so many ways where I understand there's going to be challenges, and sometimes it's just that's what it is. It's a challenge, and not to it like either makes you or it breaks you. I guess initially it was breaking me. It broke me. But now once I changed my perspective of things, it was making me who I was, which was like, whoa, this is cool. Maybe I should do hard things all the time
Yeah.
because it was hard, and it helped me see challenges, I guess, in another light. Even though I think it's easy to say now. I think it's also easier to say now because I've passed, but it's difficult. So I think for me, I have a lot of compassion. I have a lot of compassion on those that are going through whatever challenges that they're going through, because you got to be humbled. Like like I guess you were mentioning to me before. Like I was humbled. I had to come down and recognize, hey, it's necessary for you to um, continue to develop yourself. Yeah, it's important to continue to develop yourself. That was
Yeah.
big.
Hmm. All right. One last question. If a
Mm.
student comes up to you and asks you to list three things that really helped you pass your FE exam, what would you recommend or what would you say to them?
I would say perspective, patience, and perseverance.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like I had to. I didn't mention this, but like I had to put myself in the difficult situation of like not working, which was is difficult, especially in this economy. But I was putting myself under a huge amount of pressure to attain the credential. So, but I don't know if that was necessary. Like it was good for me, but it really tested my patience because again, I had to recognize that it doesn't happen overnight and it will take some time. So I had to persevere through my patience too, Like it's okay, just be patient with yourself. You'll get it. Um, and yeah, those three.
Awesome. I think they all started with P. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but it's like the
I
three.
did. I did that on purpose.
Love that. All right. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me today. I mean, your story is really inspiring. I think it's going to inspire a lot of people and help a lot of people with their journey. Whether they're going through a tough FE journey, or like an easy one. I think no matter what, I think you're really gonna help a lot of people just to approach the FE in different ways. So I really appreciate it for you taking the time and joining me today and sharing your story with us.
No problem. Glad to help. Your course and your support team have been really instrumental as well, and the Discord too. I can't forget about that the people on there too sharing their stories because that was I can't really say that was all good. That was very helpful too to know other people were going through the similar journey with me, and yeah, I appreciated that too.
Thank you.